This morning, Secretary Blinken travelling to Saudi Arabia, the US battling on multiple fronts for a ceasefire and hostage release in Gaza and against Iran.
We intend to take additional strikes and additional action to continue to send a clear message.
Waves of American strikes against Iranian-backed militia went all weekend, including on Friday night in Syria and Iraq, hitting munition stores and drone factories, a response to the killing of 3 US service members, their bodies arriving home as B-1 bombers took off from the US. On Saturday, a second operation, multinational and separate, the US said, launched from the USS Dwight Eisenhower. 36 strikes in Yemen against 13 Houthi targets, disrupting shipping in the Red Sea. Yesterday, angry Iraqi leaders held funerals, the number of dead in double figures. But despite the Pentagon saying it targeted Iran's Revolutionary Guard, the strikes, heavily signaled in advance, did not kill high-value Iranian operatives. Not so far.
Have you ruled out strikes inside Iran?
I'm not going to get into what we've ruled in and ruled out.
And now, Iran releasing a highly produced video in English warning the US not to sink an Iranian ship, the Beshad, accused of helping the Houthis.
Those engaging in terrorist activities against Beshad or similar vessels jeopardize international maritime route security and assume global responsibility for potential future international risks.
Tracking data reviewed by NBC News shows the ship some experts believe to be an Iranian spy vessel close by when commercial shipping is targeted in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. As America prepared its response last week, NBC News watched the Beshad move away. And this morning, the Houthis issuing another defiant message, despite, Savannah, those strikes over the weekend, insisting Yemen has the capability to defend itself and, they say, inflict severe blows on the enemy. Simply, Savannah, nothing has happened through this weekend that is de-escalating things in this region. Savannah?
Not by a long shot. All right, Keir, thank you. Let's get some perspective on those airstrikes from Jeremy Bash, who served as Chief of Staff at both the Department of Defense and the CIA. Jeremy, good morning. So,
good morning. From
a military perspective, what do you make of this response so far?
Friday's attacks, 85 targets, 7 locations using B-1B bombers out of Texas. I think this was tactically significant to degrade the capability of these Shia militia groups that are sponsored by Iran. Savannah, ultimately, whether it changes the calculus of Iran, that's what we call deterrence, whether it changes their minds and causes them to back off, only time will tell.
Well, as you said, the U.S. is hitting Iranian proxies. It is not hitting Iranian targets or hitting within Iran, not yet anyway. So if you want to get that kind of deterrence, do you have to send a stronger message?
I think more will come, and Jake Sullivan said as much on Meet the Press and other shows yesterday. So the administration is clearly not done. There are going to be more kinetic strikes, more airstrikes against targets. I don't think we're at the point where the administration wants to hit inside Iran. I think they view that right now as too escalatory, and they don't want a wider war.
Well, let's broaden it out here, because the U.S. does not want the wider war. It has essentially a proxy war already, as you and I have talked about many, many times. So the question is Iran getting what it wants here in terms of destabilizing the region?
I think Iran is achieving some of its objectives. After all, before October 7th, Israel, the United States, and the Saudi Arabian Kingdom were on the cusp of a major historic peace deal. Iran wanted to disrupt that, and these attacks, these wars across the Middle East, have been Iran's response. And so they have disrupted it and set back those peace efforts.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, there is a deal on the table that would exchange the rest of the remaining hostages for a ceasefire. No word on how long a ceasefire might last. It seems to be the ball is in Hamas's court, that according to Israeli sources. So how do you see this playing out?
Yeah, and I'm hearing from my sources as well, is that Israel has effectively signed off on the negotiations, and now Qatar and Egypt are pressuring Hamas to accept a deal that would return the hostages. Don't forget, Savannah, 6 Americans are still being held hostage by Hamas.
Jeremy Bash, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.